The Republic of India operates today on the longest and most comprehensive written national constitution in human history. Its scope is micromanagerial. The document regulates everything from the fundamental rights of the individual to the precise rules governing the custody of suitors' deposits in civil courts. The sheer volume of the table of contents reveals the scale of this project. It enumerates nearly 400 articles across 22 parts, each defining a specific mechanism of the state. This is the current iteration of that legal code. To understand the mechanics of the modern Indian state, one must view its constitution as a highly engineered, self-contained legal operating system. In computer science, a complex system establishes its foundational parameters through a boot sequence before it can execute higher-level programs. Instantiating a new nation-state requires a similar initialization. The framers had to lock in three prerequisites: an ideological framework, physical hardware in the form of boundaries, and an authenticated user base. These three stages correspond to the opening sections of the text: the preamble, Part 1, and Part 2. Analyzing this specific sequence shows exactly how the Indian Republic was engineered out of the remnants of the British Empire. The sequence begins with the preamble. It acts as the compiler for the state's ideological vectors, dictating the source of authority. By invoking "We the People of India," the framers established the source of sovereign authority and the foundational nature of the new state. This core code was not intended to be static. The framers designed the document to be patched through amendments as national priorities shifted. In 1976, the 42nd Amendment altered the state's core parameters by integrating the terms socialist and secular directly into the preamble's definition of the republic. The preamble functions as a living, patchable framework, ideological parameters designed for periodic updates. Once the ideological target is set, Part 1 initializes the physical domain of the state. Article 1, Clause 1, defines the nation's dual identity and its structural composition. India, that is Bharat, shall be a union of states. Clause 3 then introduces a precise legal taxonomy, creating a distinction between the political entity and the geographic container. This separates the Union of States from the broader territory of India. That territory is categorized into state territories, union territories, and any land that may be acquired in the future. This modular structure gives the central government the legal flexibility to absorb new territories and administer unique regions directly from the capital. Most federal systems, such as the United States, treat the borders of their constituent states as largely inviolable. India's hardware is different. Article 3 grants the central parliament radical power to modify internal borders at will. The language is explicitly aggressive. Parliament can unilaterally form new states by separation or uniting lands. It can increase, diminish, or alter boundaries, and even change a state's name. The result is an indestructible union of destructible states. While the outer boundary of India is fixed, the internal map remains fluid. Article 4 makes this power easier to use by specifying that these geographic changes do not require a formal, complex constitutional amendment. The framers engineered this extreme internal flexibility to manage the shifting ethnic and linguistic pressures of the subcontinent without risking the integrity of the whole. After defining the ideological target and physical hardware, the system must authenticate its user base. Article 5 establishes the logic for baseline citizenship at the commencement of the Constitution. To pass this test, an individual required a domicile in India, plus one of three conditions. They were born in India, had a parent born in India, or had been an ordinary resident for at least 5 years. However, this baseline logic was insufficient for the demographic crisis of the late 1940s. Article 6 was written as a complex contingency patch. The partition forced millions to migrate across new borders, requiring Article 6 to grant citizenship to those displaced by this demographic shock. Part 2 functions as a rigorous, adaptable filter, converting a post-imperial population into a legally authenticated citizenry. With the completion of this initialization sequence, the core of the state is structured. The ideology is defined, the boundaries are drawn, and the users are authenticated. Only because these bedrock definitions are locked in can the rest of the Constitution safely allocate rights and distribute executive power across its hundreds of following articles. This legal architecture is executed daily within the halls of the Parliament in New Delhi. The framers engineered a scalable architecture, a system capable of bending and adapting while maintaining the structural integrity of a civilization.